Welcome to Backbone Unlimited. My name is Matt Hartsky. Today will be the next video in a series diving into how to apply as a non-resident for big game in the most prominent Western big game states. To the best of my knowledge, as always, be sure to do your own research. I'm going to have a separate video for Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Montana, and Utah, so stay tuned for each of those in the coming weeks. In this episode, we're breaking down exactly how the Utah big game application process works for non-residents applying for limited entry bull elk, limited entry buck, pronghorn, and general season buck deer. We're going to be going deep on Utah's bonus point and preference point systems, how the draw order plays out, non-resident permit availability, when and how to buy or apply, and the strategic plays that matter if you're building out a multi-state fall plan. If you've been waiting to plug Utah into your rotation but aren't sure how to play the tag system, you're in the right spot. We're going to walk you through when to apply, what license you must hold first, how to buy points if you sit out a year, how the 50% bonus point and 50% random split works for limited entry, how non-resident tagging availability really shakes out, and how general season buck deer differs. Everything here is laser focused on non-residents and the three species: elk, mule deer, or more precisely buck deer, and antelope. Let's jump in. Here's a look at the Utah game plan for non-resident hunters stepping into big game seasons in this state. Utah divides big game hunts into two broad buckets: limited entry and general season. As a non-resident, the hunts you'll apply for fall into three categories we're focused on today: limited entry bull elk, limited entry buck pronghorn, and general season buck deer. Limited entry hunts are the premium tags, low numbers, high competition. General season buck deer is more widespread opportunity, but still has a drawing process for non-residents. If you're thinking elk, deer, and antelope in Utah, this is the framework you're going to live in. Now let's break down the license requirements, the timelines, and where the applications and point purchases happen. You must hold a valid Utah hunting or combo license before you can submit a big game application as a non-resident. The application window opens in the spring, typically sometime in March, and runs through April for the spring draw. This is the same window where you can apply for permits or purchase points if you're not applying that year. After the draw results come out, there's another window in June where you can buy points or apply for some hunts. If you're targeting general season, any bull or spike elk instead of limited entry, you're going to be watching the sale date in July when remaining permits go live for purchase. Those are first come, first served, not part of the draw. For application and point purchases, you're going to go through the state's online system during the posted window. Make sure your payment method is ready and your account is current, because if something drops out, you risk losing your shot. Let's dive into how you can apply for each hunt type as a non-resident. You can apply for any limited entry bull elk hunt that is open to non-residents. You can apply for any limited entry buck pronghorn hunt open to non-residents, and you can also apply for general season buck deer, whether archery, muzzleloader, or any legal weapon, for non-residents. It's important that if you draw a limited entry permit for bull elk, pronghorn, or deer in a given year, you cannot also obtain a general season buck deer permit in that same year. So you've got to pay attention to that. If you instead purchase a general season any bull or spike tag in July, you're still playing Utah, you're just choosing a different path. For limited entry bull elk and limited entry buck pronghorn, Utah uses a bonus point system. Each time you apply and don't draw, you earn a bonus point for that species. You can also buy a bonus point instead of applying for a tag during the same application window. These points don't work like preference queues where the highest points automatically get the tag. Instead, Utah squares your total number of bonus points and adds one to create your draw weight. That means the more points you have, the more entries your name gets in the hat, not just as a singular number, but squared. But there's still an element of chance every year, obviously. Half of all limited entry permits for each hunt go to applicants with the most bonus points. The other half are distributed randomly, weighted by your points. So even if you're just starting out, you always have some chance to pull a limited entry tag. That's why many hunters apply for a dream hunt every year while still banking points in case luck doesn't hit. It's a long-term game, but if you understand the math, you can build a realistic strategy and not just waste years chasing impossible odds. For general season buck deer, Utah uses a preference point system. That means tags go to those with the most points, then down the line until the permits are gone. It's a true queue system, no randomness involved. If you're not ready to hunt Utah this year, you can still buy a preference point during the application period to keep your spot climbing up the ladder. The most successful non-resident hunters for the draws play both sides. They apply for limited entry elk and pronghorn with bonus points, hoping to draw one of those premium hunts someday, while using the preference point system for general season buck deer to maintain a more predictable rotation. It's a steady, layered approach that keeps you building opportunity every year. Now let's talk about how the Utah draw actually works, because the order of operations is critical and it's different from how a lot of Western states run theirs. Utah processes applications in a very specific sequence. For the hunts we care about, the limited entry deer goes first, then limited entry bull elk, then limited entry buck pronghorn. After that come the once-in-a-lifetime species and the general season buck deer. The reason that matters is because once you draw a limited entry tag for deer, elk, or pronghorn, you're done for the year. You won't be eligible for other big game draws that follow. So always rank your priorities. Apply for what you want most, and remember that drawing one early in the sequence takes you out of the later ones. Here's how the limited entry side breaks down behind the curtain. Half of all permits for each hunt go to the applicants with the highest bonus points, like mentioned earlier. That's called the max point pool. The other half are drawn randomly, but your number of entries in that random drawing equals your bonus points squared plus 1. So the longer you've been applying, the more times your name is in the hat. It's a system that rewards persistence, but still leaves room for some luck. Let's say you've got 10 points for elk. 10 squared is 100, plus 1 gives you 101 chances in that random half of the draw. Someone with 3 points would have 10 entries. You can see how that tilts the odds heavily, but it never completely locks anybody out. It's what keeps Utah exciting, because every year, even a first-time applicant technically has a shot. For general season buck deer, there's no randomness. All tags are awarded by straight preference points. The hunters with the most points in each unit and weapon category draw first until all permits are gone. If you don't draw, you earn a preference point to build for next year. What's also important to know is that Utah looks at your first choice before it ever considers your second or third. Very few applicants draw anything other than their first choice, because almost all the tags are going to be gone by the time second and third choices are actually getting processed. So I wouldn't waste your top pick on a long shot unless that's truly the tag you're after, right? Be strategic there. Now let's get into how non-resident permits are actually distributed, because this is where a lot of hunters get tripped up. Utah makes up to around 10% of each hunt's permits available to non-residents, but that's only if there are enough total tags to justify it. In other words, if a hunt has a very small number of permits, non-residents may see fewer tags or sometimes none at all. That means before you ever hit submit, you've got to check the current hunt tables to confirm that a non-resident tag even exists for that hunt code. Don't waste points on a hunt that doesn't allocate any non-resident permits. I'm sure you're doing better research than that. For limited entry hunts like bull elk or pronghorn, that 10% allocation still gets split the same way. Half to the highest bonus point holders and half through the random bonus draw. In a small quota hunt, it's entirely possible that only 1 or 2 tags are available for non-residents, which makes the odds very steep. But again, if you're in the game every year, the random half still gives you a chance, even if it's slim. Group applicants are another place worth understanding. Non-residents can apply as a group of up to 4 people for general season buck deer and for limited entry deer, elk, or pronghorn. You can even mix residents and non-residents in the same group. But here's the catch. If the hunt you're applying for doesn't have a non-resident tag available and your group includes even 1 non-resident, that group cannot draw. So always double check the hunt tables before sending in a mixed residency group. When Utah processes a group, it treats all members as one single application. The group's bonus or preference point total is averaged and rounded down to the nearest whole number. If that application is drawn, every member gets a permit as long as enough tags remain for that hunt. If there aren't enough permits to fill the whole group, the application gets skipped. Because of that, smaller groups often have slightly better odds than bigger ones. The takeaway for non-residents is this: Utah's draw system rewards persistence and planning, so apply consistently, understand where non-resident tags actually exist, and use group applications only when it makes sense. The more you know about the math behind it, the smarter your strategy is going to be. Let's talk about how to actually build a smart Utah application strategy as a non-resident. This is where everything we've covered starts to come together. For most hunters outside the state, the best approach is to treat Utah as a long game state for limited entry bull elk and pronghorn, while using the general season buck deer as a way to stay active and build points you can actually use more predictably. It's a balance between swinging for the fences and stacking consistent opportunity. Let's start with limited entry bull elk. Utah is known for producing some of the best bulls in the West, and the quality hunts reflect that. Odds are steep, but if you stay in the game long term, you're going to eventually fall into that random pool win or climb high enough in the bonus system to cash in. Most serious hunters start by picking one or two dream units and sticking with them every year to build bonus points. You can list up to 5 choices on your application, but realistically, your first choice is the only one that matters. If you're short on time and already have tags in other states, another solid move is to buy a bonus point instead of applying that year, so you keep your momentum without risking drawing something you can't commit to. If you don't have many points and you still want to hunt elk in Utah, consider targeting general season any bull or spike elk tags that go on sale in July. Those are purchased over the counter online on a first come first served basis, and they sell out fast. It's not the same quality as limited entry hunts, but it's a great way to stay active in the state, scout areas, and keep your Utah experience rolling while your bonus points grow in the background. For general season buck deer, the preference point system makes it more predictable. Look at the draw odds for the weapon type and season you prefer. Some hunts require several points to draw, while others can be picked up nearly every year. If you're already committed to other hunts in the fall, buy a preference point to keep your place moving upward. If you have an open schedule, apply for a hunt that matches your available time and weapon season. General deer hunts are a great way to get time in Utah's terrain and gain experience before you ever draw a limited entry tag. For limited entry buck pronghorn, the approach is similar to limited entry bull elk. Long odds, but possible. Non-resident quotas are usually small, so play it as a bonus point investment and a hopeful swing. Pronghorn units are typically more accessible than elk, so if you ever do draw one, it's a manageable, high-quality hunt worth the wait. The key for non-residents in Utah is consistency. Apply or buy points every single year. Missing even one season sets you back compared to the crowd. Combine that long-term limited entry strategy with an occasional general season deer or elk hunt, and you're going to keep hunting Utah regularly while staying in position for the once-in-a-decade tag when it finally hits. Now let's wrap this up by going over the practical side, fees, timing, and the final checklist to make sure your Utah application goes smoothly. First, you're going to need a valid Utah hunting or combination license before you can even apply. That license is good for 365 days, so if you time it right, you can use it for 2 consecutive application periods. This year's draw, next year's points only window without having to buy another one, right? So that's pretty cool. It's a small detail that saves you money over time, and a lot of seasoned non-residents plan their purchases around that. Next are your application and point fees. Utah charges a small non-refundable fee for each species when you apply or buy points. It's the same whether you apply for a tag or just a point. On top of that, if you draw, you're going to pay the full permit cost for that species. Those permit prices vary depending on species and weapon type, and Utah has raised non-resident fees over time, so it's worth checking the current year's guidebook before you apply. As for timing, remember that Utah's big game application window typically runs from mid-March through late April, with results coming out in mid-May. After that, there's a second chance in June when you can buy points only if you didn't apply earlier. Then in July, Utah opens sales for remaining big game permits and general season elk tags. These go live on specific dates, usually staggered over a few days. Any bull tags one day, spike tags another, and they sell out fast. If you plan to try to buy one, set a reminder, be logged in early before the exact sale time. Another thing to keep in mind is your credit card expiration date. If the card you use to apply expires before the draw results are released, your application gets kicked out, right? It's a small mistake that's burned a lot of applicants, so always double check that your payment info will be valid through the full draw cycle. Finally, think of Utah as part of your long-term Western hunting strategy. You're building a portfolio here, a mix of bonus point species like elk and pronghorn that can take years to draw, combined with general season opportunities that keep you hunting in the meantime. Apply or buy points every year, stay organized with the deadlines, and use Utah's consistent system to your advantage. That's the complete breakdown of how the Utah big game application process works for non-residents chasing elk, mule deer, and pronghorn. When we continue this series, we're going to keep moving through the western states so you can build out a full plan that maximizes your draw odds, your hunt schedule, and your chances at the kind of tags that make all the preparation worth it. If you're serious about taking this kind of knowledge deeper and actually putting it to work, that's exactly why I built Team Backbone. It's more than just a membership. It's a way to sharpen your edge with exclusive tools, strategies, and a tribe of hunters who refuse to quit. Inside, you're going to get 20% off site-wide on all Backbone Unlimited gear, a member-only t-shirt shipped to your door every month, designs you can't get anywhere else, full access to the digital content vault packed with guides, checklists, backcountry fitness programs, mindset training, and strategy modules, a private Facebook group with direct access to me and a community of hunters who live relentless, direct call, text, or email access to me for personalized coaching, whether it's training, hunting strategy, or just sharpening your edge, and automatic entry into our monthly gear giveaways. This is built for the guys who train for the hunt, push themselves year-round, and want to be surrounded by others who make them better. If you're ready for that kind of inner circle, then Team Backbone is waiting for you at backboneunlimited.com underneath the membership tab. Thanks for being here. Until next time, train harder, hunt smarter, and never settle.